Hello guys, welcome to the course Agentforce for everyone. In this episode, we are going to see the real-time currency conversion in Agentforce with the help of external API. So to achieve this, I have listed down all the steps which we need to perform today. So the first step is we need to create a service agent. Then we are going to sign up to a ExchangeRate-API. ExchangeRate-API is a free website which we can sign up and get the API key and which we can use from our Salesforce to get the real-time currency conversion. Once we successfully sign up to the website, we are going to test this with Postman. Then we are going to create a Apex class which is actually calling the external API, passing the parameters and getting the real-time currency conversion. Then we are going to add the remote site settings for the Salesforce to allow the callout. And then we are going to create a agent action with Apex so that we can use that agent action in our agent. Then we are assigning the permission for the newly created Apex class to the Agentforce user. Once we done this, then we are going to modify the agent which we have created in the first step to add the topic, instruction and agent action. Once everything is done, then in the last step we are going to test our agent that whether it is going to get the real-time currency conversion or not. So let's follow steps one by one. So to create an agent, I need to go to the Agentforce agents, and because I already have an agent created in my previous episode, so I am going to use the same agent. So as you can see, I already have a couple of topics which is book management, case management, escalation. So I'm not going to create another agent and I'm going to use the existing one. So that means we already have an agent created. We are going to sign up to this website in order to get the access. So to sign up to this website, we need to go to the app.ExchangeRate-API. As you can see, I already have access to this website. And the access is very simple. You just need to provide some details, your name, your email, your phone number, and then you will get a free account on this website. Remember, I don't need to pay anything to access this API key. So this is currently free. They have different versions which is require payment, but for our requirement, we don't need to pay anything because our requirement is we are going to pass the source currency, the target currency, the amount, and then this API will help us to get the rate, the currency conversion rate. So that means we have successfully signed up to the API. Now, the third step is we are going to test this API with Postman before we actually writing our Apex class. It is always a best practice to use Postman upfront so that you are aware that you are getting the correct response, you are getting the response which is 200. So let's see. So this is my Postman. Now let's look for some details. So they have documented each and everything, how you can use the API, what parameters you need to pass. So for me, I will copy this URL and I will jump to the Postman and enter the URL here, paste the URL here. So now we need to place our API key here. So for that, I will go to the website, copy my API key and paste to the Postman. Now it says pair, so this is basically converting the value from euro to GBP, and then we need to enter some amount here. So let's say I will enter 10 and hit send. Okay, there are some errors. Yeah, because I am using get here, which is not required. So if I hit send, so now you can see I am getting the response 200 OK, and it has converted my 10 GBP to INR, which is 1135.616. So this is the total conversion result for me. Now we are going to write our Apex class. So we need to pass three parameters from the Agentforce. Parameter 1 is the source currency. The parameter 2 is the destination currency, the target currency, and then parameter 3 is the amount which we are going to convert into the target currency. So let's go and start creating our Apex class. So I'm going to close this now, and I will open a dev console. So I'm going to create a new Apex class now. And I'm going to name this class as currency converter service. This class is already taken. It's fine. Yeah. Maybe I have already created the class in the past, but yeah, I'm going to use that class and write our code here. So I have already written the code and I'm going to paste, and we are going to see the code line by line. So this code has a method get conversion result, and this method is a Agentforce friendly method because this method has invocable method. All the Agentforce method needs to be invocable method, and because we are also making a callout inside the method, that's why I am putting callout equals to true. And this is always a best practice to put some label, some description. Now if you know, all the Agentforce friendly method will only accept the parameters in the form of list and also return in the form of list. So let's see what is the input parameter and what is the output parameter. The input parameter is nothing, just a class currency convert request. This class consists of three parameters because I want the user to provide three things. One is the amount which is going to convert. Second is the source currency. Third is the target currency. For example, if a user is saying, okay, can you please convert the 5 GBP to INR? So there are three things: the amount, which is 5, GBP is the source currency, and INR is the target currency. So that's why all these three parameters are required, and without all these three parameters, we are not going to perform the logic further. So the input parameter is simply a class which has three parameters, three values. Now the output parameter is again a list, but it has a single parameter. We may not need this class separately. We may directly pass the list of a string, the list of total conversion rate, but it is always a good practice to keep it as a class. Maybe in the future you want to return more than one parameter. So let's say you are right now returning the total rate, but in the future you want to return, let's say, the base rate as well, or some symbols or anything. So that's why it's always a good practice to keep it as a separate class. So now I hope the input parameter and then the output parameter is clear. Now in the endpoint, I am making a complete URL. Just a note, this is not a good practice to make a URL like this. The good practice is your URL should be placed somewhere in either into the custom label or into the custom metadata or into some configuration, because this is not the purpose for today's video to put a URL into the proper form. The purpose is to show how the Agentforce can get the real-time currency conversion. So that's why I just put the URL like this. This is my API key. This is a keyword pair because we are going to pair, we are going to convert the rate from one currency to another currency. This is the source currency. This is the target currency, and this is going to be the amount. So the final URL will be make like this: the version 6, the API key, pair, source currency, target currency, and then the amount. I hope this clears. Once we form the endpoint, then these are the basic steps to make a callout, because we are hitting the endpoint, which is a get, because we are getting something. That's why I use the set method as get. Then I'm finally sending the request to the external system and checking what external system is giving back to me. If they are giving back to me as 200, that means the response is success. And from that response, I am deserializing my body and getting the conversion result. Conversion result is this, which is the total amount of the conversion. And that conversion result I am going to capture in my total conversion rate, which is a variable in the currency convert response class, and which I am going to pass back to the Agentforce. So I hope this class clears. There is nothing complex here, but if you still have any doubt on this class, reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will again explain to you for sure. Now our Apex class creation is done. Let's try to save this class. So the class has successfully saved. That means we created our class. Sorry. Now we need to add the remote site setting for this class, for this API, for this URL, because if we don't add the remote site settings, that means Salesforce will not allow us to hit this. Salesforce will not allow to communicate with the external system. So for that, I'm going to remote site settings. And I will say new and this ExchangeRate-API and save. So the remote site setting is also done. Now we are going to create our agent action. For that, I am going to Agentforce assets, which has a combination of topics and actions, and I'm going to actions and I will create a new agent action. Why I am creating a new agent action for Apex? Because we need to use that action in our Agentforce. So because I have created my class as invocable method, and I will choose my class. So if you look at the class, this label is basically the name of our class, which is convert currency. So I will select convert currency, hit next, and this is the description which is getting copied from the class to agent action instruction. Convert a given amount from one currency to another. We'll just keep it very simple. I will disable this loading text because I don't need it. And now this is the important part. So this is the input variables we have: the amount, convert from, and convert to, because these are the input parameters which we require from the user. And the instruction says whatever the user type the amount, pass that amount to the Apex class. So I will say collect data from user, collect data from user, collect data from user. Now output, because we are going to display only the total conversion rate, that's why we only have a single output variable, and I'm going to display in the conversation. So total conversion, I'll amend this, show the total conversion rate to the UI, and finish. So now you can see our convert currency action is ready. So that means we have completed this step. Now we need to assign the newly created Apex class permission to the Agentforce user, otherwise the user won't be able to access the class and call the external system. So for that, I am going to my agent and opening the service agent. So this is my Agentforce user. I will copy this and search for the user here. And because I already created a custom agent permission set in the previous episodes, so I will prefer to use this only. And if I go to Apex class access and click edit, so I can find the currency converter service and enable the access and save. So we have completed this step also. Now it's time to modify the agent to actually add the logic for the currency conversion. So we need to add three things: a topic, instruction, what instructions we need to perform, what instructions we need to give to the agent, and then the action. Based on the instructions, what action can a agent take? So let's go to agent and open in builder, and we need to deactivate this to make any changes, because we already have 3 topics. So I maybe use one of the topics to add my currency conversion logic, but it is always a best practice to use a separate topic for a separate feature. So this topic is I can just name what do you want this topic to do. So I want this topic to do currency conversion management, and based on the one-liner, the Agentforce will provide all the data. So if you look at the classification description, handles user requests related to converting currency values. This include providing up-to-date exchange rates and performing currency conversion. The scope is only to assist user with currency conversion inquiries. You should provide current exchange rates and perform conversion based on user inputs. It has added couple of instructions. If a user provide a currency amount and target currency, perform the conversion using the latest exchange rate. I will use my own. These are also fine, but I will prefer to use my own. So for that, I'm just going to write a simple instruction. Whenever a user requests a currency conversion, ask for the amount, the source currency, and the target currency. That's it. Next, and here we are going to use our newly created agent action with Apex and finish. So that is done. We can ignore this logic error because this is coming from the case management, and we can refresh this. So we have modified our agent. Now it's time to test the real-time currency conversion. So I will also activate this, and I will ask a simple question to the agent. What's the current INR value of 5 British pounds? And so this INR is the target currency, 5 is the amount, but I have not given the source currency. So now I want to see, is the Agentforce really smart enough to understand the currency of British pounds? Let's see. Yeah, so you can see the current value of 5 British pound GBP. That means Agentforce is smart enough to understand, to aware what is the currency symbol for British pounds, and it calculated the 5 GBP is equivalent to 567 Indian rupees INR. So if you look at this middle section, we have given our prompt, what's the current value of this. It selected a topic based on the question. It selected the topic currency conversion management. We have given one instruction. Based on the instruction, it fires our Apex class. Apex class receives 3 parameters. One is the source currency, the target currency, and then the amount. It distributed very well to the right parameter, and then it hit to the external system and getting the value from the external system and capturing to the total conversion rate. And then based on the output, the Atlas reasoning engine rectify our message, and we given the response very nicely. The current value of 5 British pound is this Indian rupees. Let's try some more figure. How much is 500 GBP in, let's say, USD? So GBP is the source currency, USD is the target currency. So you can see the current value of 500 GBP is this US dollars. So that means we have successfully tested our real-time currency conversion agent. That's all for this episode. I hope you really like it. If you have any question or any concern implementing this topic, feel free to reach out me on LinkedIn, and I would love to help you. And then I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.